The doctor turned pale as he stared at my blood test. His hands started shaking. Then he looked straight into my eyes and whispered, "Who gives you your vitamins?" I smiled slightly and said, "My husband. He's a cardiologist." The doctor jumped to his feet. "Stop taking them immediately," he said in panic. "They're poisoning you." I never thought a simple blood test would save my life. That morning, I had gone to St. Mary's Medical Center in Chicago because I felt tired all the time. Not sick, just drained. My husband, Dr. Ethan Walker, told me I was overreacting. "You're fine, Claire," he said while adjusting his tie. "Probably stress. Take your vitamins like always." I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? He was my husband. And a respected heart doctor. For months, something felt wrong. I lost weight without trying. My hands trembled sometimes. I had headaches that came out of nowhere. But Ethan always had an explanation. Normal hormonal changes. Work stress. Anxiety. And every night, like clockwork, he handed me my vitamins. A small white pill. A yellow capsule. And a pink one. "Doctor's orders," he joked. I laughed. That day, the nurse drew my blood quietly. Everything felt normal. Until the doctor returned. His name was Dr. Samuel Reed. He didn't sit down. He stood there, staring at the paper like it was about to explode. "Claire," he said slowly. "Are you taking any supplements?" "Yes," I said. "My husband gives them to me." That's when his face changed. He swallowed hard. "Who exactly prescribes them?" he asked. "My husband," I repeated. "He's a cardiologist at North Shore Hospital." The room went silent. Then Dr. Reed locked the door. He lowered his voice. "Claire," he said urgently, "these levels in your blood are dangerous." I frowned. "Dangerous how?" He turned the paper toward me. "Slow toxicity," he explained. "Heavy metals. Unregulated compounds." My heart started pounding. "But they're vitamins." He shook his head. "No," he said firmly. "They're not." Then he said the words that shattered my world. "Someone is poisoning you." I laughed nervously. "That's impossible," I said. "My husband would never." Dr. Reed interrupted me. "Your kidney markers are failing," he said. "Your blood chemistry shows long-term exposure." I felt dizzy. He grabbed my arm. "Stop taking whatever he gives you." Today, I left the hospital in shock. The city felt louder. Sharper. I sat in my car for 10 minutes without starting the engine. Ethan was a doctor. My husband. The man who kissed my forehead every morning. Why would he hurt me? Unless. That night, Ethan handed me the pills as usual. I stared at them. "You're late today," he said casually. "Traffic," I replied. My hands trembled as I took the pills. But I didn't swallow them. I pretended to. When Ethan turned away, I slipped the pills into my pocket. My heart was racing. Later that night, when he fell asleep, I took them out. Under the lamp, they didn't look normal. No labels. No pharmacy markings. Just plain capsules. I sat on the bed, staring at the pills. If Dr. Reed was right, then the man sleeping beside me was slowly killing me. At 2:17 a.m., I was standing in my bathroom, staring at the pills that might kill me. And my husband was sleeping peacefully in the next room. I knew I couldn't confront Ethan. Not yet. If Dr. Reed was right, then Ethan wasn't careless. He was careful. I flushed the toilet to make noise, then slipped the pills into a plastic bag and hid them inside my makeup drawer. That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, Ethan kissed my cheek like always. "Don't forget your vitamins tonight," he said, smiling. I forced a smile back. "I won't." As soon as he left for work at North Shore Hospital, I drove straight to a small independent lab on the south side of Chicago. I didn't use my real name. I paid cash. And I begged the technician. "Please," I said. "I need to know what's in these." The lab said it would take 2 days. 2 days felt like 2 years. During that time, I pretended everything was normal. I cooked. I laughed. I acted like the perfect wife. And every night, I secretly threw the pills away. On the second night, Ethan noticed. "You didn't take them," he said calmly. My heart skipped. I did, I replied quickly. He stared at me for a long moment, then smiled. Good, he said. They're important. That smile chilled me. 2 days later, my phone rang while I was at work. Claire, a nervous voice asked. This is the lab. I stepped outside. Yes. You need to come in immediately, the woman said. My hands went cold. The technician handed me the report. My eyes blurred as I read. Arsenic. Thallium. Unregulated cardiac suppressants. This isn't accidental, she said quietly. This is deliberate poisoning. My knees buckled. I sat down. Why didn't it kill me already? I whispered. She shook her head. Low doses. Very controlled, she said. Whoever did this wanted you weak. Not dead. Weak. Dependent. That night, while Ethan showered, I did something I'd never done before. I opened his locked office drawer. Inside, I found a folder. My name was on it. Claire Walker, medical observation. My breath caught. Inside were printed blood test charts. My blood tests. Ones I had never seen. Dates. Dosages. Notes. Increase by 0.5 milligrams. Monitor fatigue. Kidney tolerance stable. I felt sick. This wasn't abuse. This was an experiment. At the bottom of the folder was one last document. A life insurance policy. On me. $5 million. Signed by Ethan. I heard the shower turn off. Ethan was coming. I shoved the folder back, my hands shaking. The man I married wasn't just poisoning me. He was planning my death. At that moment, hiding the folder back in the drawer, I understood one thing clearly. If I didn't act first, I would die. Ethan walked out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, humming softly. You okay? He asked casually. Yes, I said, forcing a smile. Just tired. He kissed my forehead. That touch made my skin crawl. That night, I lay awake beside him, counting his breaths, wondering how many nights he had watched me the same way. From that day on, I became an actress. I pretended to be weaker, more tired. I complained of dizziness. Ethan seemed pleased. See, he said gently. The vitamins are working. Every word felt like a knife. A week later, I noticed something strange. A name appeared on our shared insurance portal. Rebecca Walker. I stared at it. Ethan? I asked casually that evening. Who's Rebecca? He didn't even look up. Old clerical error, he said. I'll fix it. But he never did. The next day, I went to the public records office downtown. I searched Ethan's name. Then I searched again. And again. That's when I found it. Marriage license. Ethan Walker and Rebecca Lawson. 10 years ago. Status. Deceased. My hands shook as I pulled the record. Cause of death. Sudden cardiac failure. No autopsy. No investigation. I felt cold. Rebecca hadn't divorced Ethan. She had died. I searched Rebecca's name online. One photo came up. A smiling woman with dark hair. She looked healthy, happy, and terrifyingly like me. I printed the records. Dates lined up perfectly. Rebecca died 2 years after marrying Ethan. I had been married to him for almost 2 years. My blood test abnormalities began 6 months ago. Just like Rebecca's medical history notes. This wasn't coincidence. This was a cycle. I returned to Dr. Samuel Reed. When I showed him the documents, his face hardened. You need protection, he said. And evidence. I need to survive, I replied. He nodded. I'll help you, he said. But you must do exactly what I say. The plan was simple. Terrifying. I would continue pretending to take the pills. Dr. Reed would monitor my blood secretly. And when Ethan increased the dosage, we would catch him. Red-handed. That night, Ethan handed me a new pill. Blue. We're adjusting your supplements, he said calmly. My stomach dropped. This was the next phase. I stared at the blue pill in my palm. Rebecca had reached this phase. And she hadn't survived it. The blue pill was heavier than the others. Not in weight. In meaning. I knew deep in my bones that if I swallowed it, I might not wake up. Ethan watched me closely as I lifted the glass of water. Go on, he said gently. It'll help your heart. The irony almost made me scream. I smiled weakly. Then I swallowed. Or at least, I pretended to. The pill stayed hidden under my tongue. When he turned away, I excused myself and spit it into a tissue. My hands were shaking. Later that night, I placed my phone inside a drawer in the kitchen. Voice recording on. Battery full. I didn't know what I was hoping for. A confession. A slip. Anything. At midnight, Ethan came in quietly. He thought I was asleep. I heard him on the phone. Yes, he whispered. She's tolerating it well. My heart pounded. No, he said softly. Not yet. Another increase. He paused. Rebecca was weaker than this. I bit my lips so hard I tasted blood. That was it. That was the proof. He had never said her name before. I pressed my hand over my mouth to keep from crying out. She trusts me, he continued. They always do. Always. Plural. The call ended. Ethan went back to bed. I didn't move for an hour. When I finally checked my phone, the recording was still running. Clear. Perfect. The next morning, I met Dr. Reed in his office. He listened to the recording in silence. When it ended, he exhaled slowly. That's enough to involve the authorities, he said. No, I replied quickly. Not yet. He looked at me sharply. He's careful, I said. If we move too fast, he'll disappear. I needed him exposed. Publicly. That evening, Ethan did something unexpected. He increased the dose again. Without waiting. You're responding slower than expected, he said calmly. Expected. I nodded, pretending to feel weak. Inside, I felt something else. Anger. 2 days later, I collapsed at work. On purpose. An ambulance took me to St. Mary's Medical Center. Ethan arrived in a rush, playing the worried husband. I'm her cardiologist, he told the staff. Dr. Reed stepped forward. So am I, he said coldly. Ethan froze. Dr. Reed ordered a full toxicology screen. Ethan objected. Too strongly. The nurse noticed. So did the attending physician. Ethan's mask began to crack. As they wheeled me away, Ethan leaned close and whispered. You weren't supposed to collapse yet. I looked him in the eyes. That was the moment he knew. I knew. Monitors beeped around me. Doctors whispered urgently. And somewhere outside my room, Ethan was realizing his perfect plan was falling apart. Ethan stood in the hallway outside my hospital room, wearing his white coat. But for the first time since I met him, he looked afraid. The toxicology report came back faster than Ethan expected. Too fast. Dr. Reed stood beside my bed while another physician reviewed the results. Claire, Dr. Reed said calmly. Your blood contains arsenic, thallium, and synthetic cardiac suppressants. Ethan stiffened. That's impossible, he snapped. She takes prescribed supplements. The doctor looked at him sharply. Prescribed by whom? Silence. A nurse quietly left the room. Minutes later, hospital security appeared. Ethan's badge was scanned. Restricted. Dr. Walker, the head nurse said carefully. We need you to step away from the patient. I'm her husband, he argued. And a suspect, Dr. Reed replied. That word changed everything. Ethan smiled tightly. This is a misunderstanding, he said. I'll clear it up. He turned to leave. 2 security guards blocked his path. You're not going anywhere, one said. That's when Ethan's calm finally broke. Later that night, while I pretended to sleep, I heard shouting in the hallway. Ethan had tried to leave through the emergency stairwell. He didn't make it far. A nurse screamed. Security ran. And within minutes, police arrived. A detective named Mark Sullivan sat beside my bed. Mrs. Walker, he asked gently. Did your husband give you medication regularly? Yes, I said. Did you know what was in them? No. He nodded. Did he ever mention his first wife? I swallowed. No, I said. He never spoke her name. The detective's jaw tightened. Detective Sullivan leaned forward. Rebecca Lawson's death was ruled natural, he said. But her medical records look a lot like yours. My chest tightened. She didn't die suddenly, he continued. She died slowly. Just like Ethan planned for me. I saw Ethan briefly as police escorted him past my room. His hands were cuffed. his face twisted with rage. "You ruined everything," he hissed when he saw me. I met his eyes. "No," I said softly. "You did." "The police searched our home. They found the medical folder, the dosage charts, the life insurance policy, unlabeled compounds hidden in his office, and the recording, the one where he said her name, Rebecca." Detective Sullivan returned the next day. "Ethan didn't expect you to survive this long," he said. I nodded. "He underestimated you," he added. For the first time, I believed that. Ethan was charged with attempted murder, medical malpractice, insurance fraud, tampering with evidence. But the case wasn't over. There was one final truth left to reveal. Detective Sullivan paused at the door. "There's something else," he said. "Rebecca left a journal." My breath caught. Rebecca spoke to me from beyond the grave. Not with her voice, but with her truth. Detective Sullivan placed a worn notebook on the small hospital table. "It was hidden behind a wall panel in their old apartment," he said. "Ethan missed it." My hands trembled as I opened it. The first page read, "If someone is reading this, I'm probably already dead." Tears blurred my vision. Rebecca's words were calm. Too calm. She wrote about fatigue, headaches, dizziness. She wrote about Ethan giving her vitamins, about how he insisted she stop seeing her own doctor, about how weak she felt near the end. My chest felt tight. Every word matched my life. The last entries were shaky. "I think Ethan is hurting me. He watches me when I sleep. If I confront him, I won't survive." Then one final sentence. "If you're reading this, please live." I pressed the journal to my chest and sobbed. 3 months later, I sat in a courtroom. Not as a victim, as a survivor. Ethan sat at the defense table, thinner now, his confidence gone. The prosecution played the recording. They showed the lab reports. They presented Rebecca's journal. The jury didn't look at Ethan once. When the verdict came, the room was silent. Guilty on all counts. Ethan collapsed into his chair. The judge's voice was firm. "Dr. Ethan Walker, you abused your position, your marriages, and your oath." He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. No white coat. No control. No more victims. Outside the courthouse, sunlight warmed my face. Reporters shouted questions. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Rebecca's truth had spoken for itself. I moved. I changed my name back to Claire Morgan. I started therapy. My body healed slowly. But it healed. Every breath felt like rebellion. Every smile felt like victory. 1 year later, I stood at Rebecca's grave. "I lived," I whispered. "For both of us." The wind moved through the trees. And for the first time, I felt peace. Sometimes the most dangerous people wear trusted titles. Sometimes love is used as a weapon. But truth always finds a way to survive. And so do we. If this story moved you, like to honor survivors. Comment if you believe truth saves lives. Subscribe for more powerful real-life inspired stories. Your support helps these stories reach those who need them most.